Hi, welcome to the bathtub. 'Tis I, the master bather, where when you hear this iconic theme song, you turn it up really loud, shamelessly, just taunting Peabody and Sherman to come sue us. Go ahead, come on, you little four-eyed dog, your kid, come and get us. Anyway, we're it's the pointless adventures in literature. It's one of the it's something we're going to be doing a lot more of because our adventures are becoming more pointless and more meaningless. And of course, what we promise you here at the bathtub, this is our normal disclaimer, is that I'm going to tell you some anecdote or some personal something or other, which is it's either pointless, sometimes they're pointless, sometimes they're meaningless, sometimes they're both pointless and meaningless, but they're always pointless, meaningless, or both. And we could bank on that here at the bathtub, because that's what we do here. We bank on things. This is a pointless adventure, and this is basically it's about Bob Johnson. I've been doing these Bob Johnson books for about since the first Trump administration. I always said I was going to be using this phrase, by the way. I said this for years. The first Trump administration, I did a book called. Every day I would do a 3-paragraph story about Bob Johnson in San Luis Obispo, just to keep myself from reading the newspapers. It was eventually published in this extremely handsome and personally designed book called 3 Paragraphs on the Life of Bob Johnson. That's Bob there, and that's one of his divorces. And what is that? That's what butterfly. There's a butterfly in it. There's some of the booze he drinks. And there's Misty, our lovely Misty dog, who became one of the characters in the book, who dies in it, I'm afraid. Anyway, this is the first volume. And then I said, well, when it turned out we were going to be going through this all over again, I said we're gonna bring Bob Johnson back out. And so far, nobody cares. There's no one's been beating a path to Bob's house. There's almost nobody reads it. I read it every day just before I publish them, and I publish a 3-paragraph story every day on Substack. And you do not have to subscribe. I refuse to let people pay money for any of these stupid stories. Anyway, I'm just going to this is basically to remind everyone that actually Bob Johnson is now it's called Volume 2, which is how it'll be published eventually, is now called it's called Bob Johnson Rides Again. Bob Johnson Rides Again, and we're up to about I think today we got to chapter 154. Instead of 300 3-paragraph short stories, the plan for this book, and the only narrative diagram I have for the entire pointless adventure, is it's going to be 333 minus 3-paragraph stories. So eventually we're going to have 300 and so many of these stories. I'm just going to give you a little catch up with you, because if you're not keeping up with these stories, they get pretty confusing. And I'd be honest with you. One of the reasons it's interesting to do this very quick episode, and I promise to not let it go on too long, is I do not know what's been going on in the past 100 episodes. I write these every day, and I sometimes have to go back and kind of browse around for names and see what sort of characters have been showing up, because I don't even know what's going on half the time. So let's just go through. I just pop it around and just kind of ramble through here, as usual. So there's a character named Tooth Man Chipper. He's the most wanted toddler in San Luis Obispo County. A few weeks shy. This is from 67, chapter 67, Childly Prodigious. This is 2 or 3 months ago. Also, we've gone on holidays during this, and we sometimes take a break from the Bob Johnson's stories. Nobody seems to notice we're gone, and then we come back and we start up again, and nobody notices that either. Anyway, this Tooth Man Chipper is a 2-year-old in a onesie. He's wanted on suspicion of grand larceny, assault, armed assault, wearing cloth diapers without a license, more assault, attempted murder, attempted grand larceny, grand theft auto. Anyway, he's a new recurring character. I quite like Tooth Man Chipper. He's a little kid who shows up and goes. Dr. Mabuse is a character in this. I sometimes forget this, but I do like Dr. Mabuse. He's got a bunch of henchmen. He's from the old Fritz Lang film. He's an evil, diabolical genius, and he coaches the local little league, and he coaches. He has three henchmen. Their names are Rocco, Fantomas, and Cy Sperling. Those are his three buddies. Oh, I see. Now, see, that's why it's good for me to read this. Yo-Yo Ma's mama is a character in this. One of the biggest problems Monumental Lee, this is Bob Johnson's grandmother, has faced living in San Luis Obispo, and this is 1/4 true for her grandson, Bob Johnson, is that in the absence of any other Asian faces in the entire city, she misses all the things that once made her enjoy being Asian. She misses decent Chinese food, of course. She misses mahjong and getting angry at the men in her life for playing too much ping pong, which was why. And so what the end of this paragraph is that Monumental Lee is very relieved when a familiar Asian-looking face moved in next door to her condo, one belonging to none other than Yo-Yo Ma's mama. So Yo-Yo Ma's mama is a character in this. I almost forgot that. We also do the secret history of San Luis Obispo. That's from the original one. We have the little secret histories that people don't know about San Luis Obispo. And this one is there's a whole chapter on the Irish Hills. And many visitors ask, what makes the Irish Hills so Irish? And here's a hint. It's not their drinking. So that's interesting to know. We have the Schrodinger kids are in here. What Doesn't Stay in Vegas. That's based on Lucy and I went to Vegas, so we had some stories in Vegas. And Trixie Belden. Bob Johnson is not dating a very, very attractive young woman named Trixie Belden, and their non-dating life is very successful. Koot Humi is in this. My gosh, I forgot. See, I did not remember any of this. Koot Humi is one of the universe's secret masters. And even Koot Humi is showing up in the Bob Johnson book. We're going to keep skipping through here. Let's go through a random. Here's another, The Secret History of San Luis Obispo again, Avila Valley Barn, where it turns out the Avila Valley Barn, this is history of the local area, more specifically the barn, not the valley, was built by one of the first conquistadors, Pablo Escobar Balboa de la Mancha, in 1642, when he and his fellow conquistadors went fleeing a pack of wild golden bears who had, after tasting the grisly innards of one very small conquistador, Pepe the Lean, had decided they liked what they tasted and wanted to taste some more. Andale, Pablo shouted. Okay, so there's One-Eyed Jack. He's a goat that lives at that restaurant. Stevie Nicks, the loneliest vulture in San Luis Obispo, is another character. And she's fallen in love with Bob Johnson's grandpa. And basically, you do not want lonely vultures falling in love with you. It's not a good sign. It's not a good sign, especially if you're as old as Bob Johnson's grandpa. What else is happening here? So we go on and on. We have the anti-Bob is back. That's the opposite of Bob. He's the total opposite of Bob, which means everyone really likes him, and he's quite a happy, nice person. Everybody quite likes him in town. There's a whole episode about the Department of Education. I don't know what that's about. And Greenpeace shows up. My gosh, I don't even remember most of these episodes. On Wings of Song, and this is Tex-Mex Chinchilla Sumter Lee, who's one of our favorite characters. Tex-Mex, since he's like one of the world's worst. Basically, he's one of the world's worst country western singers. That's Lucky Barking, which was pretty annoying. A place called Ramen A Go-Go. Oh, Lovely Rita. See, Lovely Rita Made for Meters. She's a local meter maid, and the chapter is called Lovely Rita Made for Meters. Let's skip ahead further. Again, you can go on and I put a link to this Substack page. I don't think I told you, but yes, Federico Fellini's in these. Federico Fellini is actually a character in the Bob Johnson book. And where's Walter Reed when you need him? Oh, it turns out Darlene the Rock Verhoeven Johnson. She's Bob's sister, a strange sister, and she's married Paul Verhoeven, the internationally famous film director, and her nickname is The Rock. And Darlene the Rock Verhoeven Johnson has just escaped from Alligator Alcatraz in chapter 141, and Bob helps her get back to California, and in the course of that escape, an alligator from Alligator Alcatraz actually escapes with her, and the alligator's name is Frankie Goes to Hollywood. So that's more to look forward to. Scintilla Jones, one of my favorite characters from the first volume, is who died in the first volume, has been reanimated by a lightning strike. So Scintilla Jones is back, and she's out, and she's an old woman who likes to go around on her mobility scooter and grab young men's asses. That's what she likes to do. So anyway, I'm not going to say too much more because I think basically if you've listened to even half of what I've said, you're never going to want to look at this stupid book. I'm enjoying it. If you really don't want to think about anything important for at least a minute and a half, that's what Bob Johnson is here for. And anyway, that's the end of this episode, Pointless Adventures. I'm going to be doing a bunch of Pointless Adventures because we're finding our whole life is becoming kind of pointless adventures as we get close to the end of it. I'm beginning to think. So we have a lot of ideas for future adventures, and I'm going to start, and I've got them all scribbled down, and I'm going to try to get those out there as fast as I can because I don't know what's going on in this. I don't want to keep up with this crazy world too much longer. I plan to live forever, but I don't want to pay too much attention to the world while I'm doing it. Anyway, stay safe. Bob is there if you need him, and he's also there if you don't need him. And we'll see you all soon with perhaps more useful episodes, but probably not.